Hey, this is Rick. Good morning. It is, what is it? Thursday, December 12th. I wanted to talk a little bit today about Warner Brothers Discovery. They just announced that they are reorganizing the company, and I'm already seeing sort of a lot of bad press, bad takes on this. And I wanted to sort of walk everybody through this a little bit. Now, currently, Warner Brothers Discovery is split into three segments. There's a studios part, which is the film and TV studios, which is what you would imagine it would be, but it also includes the company's consumer products, interactive entertainment, licensing, publishing divisions, and then there's the networks, which is the television networks, and then there's what they call a direct to consumer DTC, which is HBO and the company's streaming services, which include, among other things, Max and Discovery Plus. So the company is now going to apparently just split itself into two divisions. There is the studio and streaming side, so those two parts are being combined, and then there's going to be the network side. Um, and I'm seeing already a lot of takes about this and how this is going to make it easier to spin off the company ultimately, blah blah blah. I just want to throw a couple of little things out there to consider. Number one, if the company wanted to spin off the linear networks, they could have right now. They've already written them off. They wrote off $9 billion worth of value. It would have been really easy to spin the things off like Comcast did. The thing is, Warner Brothers Discovery has the problem that, particularly with Max and obviously with Discovery Plus, they really rely on that linear TV programming. Um, that's the same reason that Comcast kept Bravo when they split off all the networks. If Peacock would have missed Bravo. Bravo is an integral part of Peacock's streaming philosophy, its audience. And there are a lot of people who subscribe to Peacock specifically for Bravo networks, right? Nobody cares about E or sci-fi. I mean, there's not going to be someone that say, "Oh, geez, I wish that Peacock had access to whatever original E programming actually exists anymore." But that's not the case with Warner Bros. Discovery. When you look at their linear networks, not just HDTV and Food Network and there's all of these are really important parts of the Max business. And the other side of this that isn't getting talked about a lot is this is not a American company. This is a global company with global assets. And when you look at their linear networks and a lot of other places, it's a lot of sports programming. It's a lot of stuff that they need for Max internationally. This is a lot more complex than just, oh, they want to keep HDTV programming, although that's obviously part of it. The other side is, why do they do it this way as opposed to spinning it off? Look, I don't know that much about the tax issues. I can guarantee that there's some tax upside to doing it this way. If there's one thing that's a constant in the careers of David Zaslav, who is the CEO of WBD, and John Malone, who's a one of the big investors of the company and is an advisor to Zaslav, they are notoriously I won't say manipulative, very smart about how they structure deals to give themselves the best possible tax advantages. So I'm sure that there's some tax advantage in this that we don't really see. You wouldn't necessarily understand if you weren't a tax expert, and I'm certainly not, but I'm sure that's a component. Here's the thing. I mean, they figured out a way, from what I can tell, to keep the revenue from the linear networks inside the company, also keep access to the programming they need, but also cushion themselves in a way that they can split off that linear network story in a way that makes them look as positive as possible. You're going to see a lot more stuff focusing, a lot more press, a lot more interviews focusing on the streaming and studio business, and they can legitimately say, well, look, that little cable business, that's just one of our divisions. You shouldn't use that as a reflection of the company as a whole. I mean, there's a lot of PR aspects to this as well. It's a really complicated issue. And honestly, we don't have a lot of the details yet. The only thing that we know about it for sure is the press release that was filled with platitudes that went out earlier today. And it was a bunch of talk about synergy and shareholder value and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't really tell you much of anything. I mean, I think one of the aspects that give you an idea that this company is essentially not going to change that much in at least the short term is it appears that the executive who is overseeing the linear and streaming networks is going to remain in that role, even though it's two separate divisions. Uh, so that gives you a little insight to just how, quote, separate these divisions are going to be in at least the near future. So we're going to keep watching this. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of talk about it. I'm sure I'm going to be writing about it, but I just wanted to reach out and give you some things to think about. And until tomorrow, let's just keep plugging away. All right, thanks.